Are you ready? Let's go!
Hello, and,
Started.
You interrupted me. Lost my train of thought.
I do that sometimes.
Yeah, how are you doing?
Pretty good. It's been a while.
I'm the Phantom Reviewer, and you are...
And
What's
I
your name
am...
again?
I have many names, I suppose.
What do you want to go with today?
Oh, we'll go ahead and go with biscuits.
Okay, makes me hungry. So we are here for the final end of season, end of the whole thing, Phantom Reviews podcast.
So long, and thanks for all the fish, you guys.
That doesn't make me so hungry. So we're here just to wrap everything up and talk about the whole crazy journey we've been on for the last 4 years.
Isn't this the 5th year?
No, I think it's 4 years in June from my very first video. For a bonus question for fans, can anyone remember what the very first video was?
Wasn't that the 1925 version?
It was, yeah. It was like I did a little video on the differences between the two unmaskings. But it wasn't a real review. Okay, so we have got some... I don't know, do you want to dive straight in and do the fan questions?
Yeah, I suppose we might as well start with that, and if we wander to other topics, that's good too.
We do a lot of wandering.
Yeah, that's true. Lots of adventures.
Yeah.
Alright, so we've got the forums up. Some people were nice enough to post some questions.
By the way, phantomreviews.proboards.com if you haven't joined, because that's the way to keep up to date with what's going on in our Phantommy worlds after the reviews have finished.
Yep, pretty sweet. You can talk about the reviews, you can talk about the different versions. There's something called Eric cookies. I don't know what it means, but
Neither
are they
the
muffins
hell do I.
now? Somebody will explain it. Maybe it doesn't need explaining. Anyway.
No, don't ask. Don't encourage them to start it up again.
Alright, sorry, nobody do it. It's not funny.
No, we'll go
Okay.
back and delete that.
Yes.
It's not big and it's not clever.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and jump right in with our first question. Shall I read the posters' names, or should we?
Yeah,
just
you can
go?
do, yeah.
All right,
If you can
Veritas
pronounce them.
has gone ahead and asked, if you had to do it all over again, what would you change, either about the way you did the reviews, or perhaps a change in focus, like ignoring or including particular things?
I've thought about this before. When I started, I didn't realise it was going to be quite so popular, or that we'd end up doing so many videos. And one of the things I wished I'd done is, right from the outset, done it live action. So actually made myself a little Phantom Reviewer costume, a bit like, in the Phantom movie, where I've got my little homemade thing.
Yeah.
With the black mask and everything, and actually film it in a basement or a sewer and that kind of thing. And obviously you can get your little Christine dress and film that live action, and we could sort of merge the two together.
I did have the best dress. I didn't even get to use it. That's what I would change.
Oh, you did, yeah. So that's probably what I would do, because I started out just using little clips of the Chaney movie to sort of illustrate what went on with the Phantom Review, and that was okay, but it's a bit limiting in a way, and especially when I got into the Maximilian Schell version, because I think there's only one scene where the Phantom and Maria are sort of talking together much, which is the bit just before she unmasks him. So there's only so many times I can use that same clip of them talking on the bed. So yeah, it would have been better if I did live action, and if I do any more future reviews, I will be using live action instead. I was thinking about using the Robert Englund Phantom, but again, I'll probably run into the same problems that I can only use so many scenes. Right.
And it would have to fit into continuity, because those two are so hot and cold in that one.
Yeah. And it would sort of be 1890s, and that doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think you made the right choice, though, with the ones that you did use.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, so is there another question?
Yeah, she has another one here, too. She has 2 more questions.
That's cheating! No.
It's too late, though. She already did. Okay. Looking over the whole series of reviews, what was your biggest surprise, either within a particular review or movie, or over a particular genre, or the whole series? So actually, that was like 4 questions. That is cheating.
For me, I guess the Takarara Bazooka version, because I've had that film for the longest time. I must have had that for about 2-3 years on my hard drive, and I've just never watched it because I thought I'm not going to enjoy it. It's all in Japanese. There's no dubbing.
But
it's an all-female.
Good.
I know. Well, now I've watched it. Now you've explained it to me.
You have little faith.
I really, really enjoyed it.
I'm so glad.
I want to watch it again. I'd love to see it live, actually. That would be amazing.
Oh, I wish, yeah. I would actually just love to go to one of their performances. Anything.
That reminds me, actually, I was looking at some stuff on Takarazuka yesterday. Have you seen the Cosmos Troupe version?
A Phantom?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that. I prefer the Flower Troupe one. I think it's Flower, or was it?
Yeah, it is Flower. Yeah, the one that we've seen. So, what's the difference between the two?
Just pretty much the actresses.
The costumes look different as well, though, because I saw a clip of Hear My Sad Tale, and the costume was sort of like this red matador thing that was kind of cool, but the deformity was just as lame.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's all supposed to be just symbolic. I think I talk about it at length in the actual review, but that was one of the disappointing things. I'm just like, dang it.
I know, it was so good apart from that.
Pretty much. If they had stuck with the little teasing of the other versions of that same production where you just don't see it, it's so horrifying.
I know, that's really annoying. Talking of which, have you ever seen the Yeston and Copic musical live?
I haven't seen it live, no. I've just seen bad bootlegs.
Yeah, that's the same here. Do you know if it still tours at all? Because that is one version I would love to see live. Probably even more than the Android Web one. I
think, actually myself included, even though I prefer actually watching it in the Japanese version because the lyrics in the original version are just so silly sometimes. I have a hard time taking it seriously.
Which ones did you have in mind? Because when I was editing the review, you did talk about that, and I thought, what to choose as an example. But I thought mainly Philippe's nonsense.
Oh my god!
About making the night effervescent.
Yeah.
That was one that jumps out to me. But have you got any others that really bug you in the English version?
Not actually any that I can think of offhand. If we have to put this into a second night, I can maybe come up with something. But I've seen it like maybe once completely through in English, and otherwise I've watched the Takarazuka version. I might as well say it right. Probably like 4 or 5 times.
Do you realise it's taken me 4 years to learn how to spell it right? I
did notice. I was so proud of you the first time you did it.
I think I called it Tarakazumia or something like that.
I
never really understood how to write that.
Mostly just called it Takamazuke.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Now, did we answer? Oh no, it's your turn to answer that question. Your biggest surprise, I guess, do they mean overall the new movies that we've seen as part of this that we were surprised by?
I don't know. It's kind of a really open question. So she has kind of 2 questions in here over the reviews, and then I don't know. It's a big question. I don't know. Let me gosh.
I think I was also surprised how good Eric Portrait of a Living Corpse was.
Right.
But that always looked sort of awesome.
Mhm. I guess my biggest surprise was just how big or how many Phantom films there are. Considering that the novel wasn't exactly a fantastic piece of literature, and I think pretty much the fame for the story itself comes from the 1925 movie being so iconic.
That's right, yeah.
I was just shocked at how many adaptations there are for this. That was my biggest surprise.
Particularly with the foreign versions, I've just started going on another Song at Midnight kick, and I'm trying to track down. There's tons of different versions of Song at Midnight. Yeah,
including, as you found, the Takarazuka one as well, which I couldn't find anything for.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, there's some sort of there's 2 Leslie Chung films. There's The Phantom Lover and something else which I can't remember. And Takarazuka have made a musical of that, but I can't find any information about that.
No, I just found a couple of pages in foreign. It was kind of hard to. So.
Is that just a generic language in foreign?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. So that's probably it for that one.
All right. She's got one more here. Is there one particular thing you'd want your viewers to take away from the series? I think my last answer pretty much answered this too. Just like look at this. Look at the sheer amount of films we have based on this one theme. And okay, so it is a total, tear away of Beauty and the Beast, but I don't know, just how fascinated we all seem to get with really, horrific man and his redemption, although in some of the movies he's not redeemable at all, I suppose. Robert
I don't know.
Englund.
I don't know what else you're supposed to take away from it apart from be selective in what movies you watch. You don't have to waste your life watching total garbage. So maybe, you don't have to track all these versions down. You could watch my condensed review and then, you might have spent 20, 30 minutes watching my review, but there's an extra hour and a half of watching the movie that I've saved you.
Yeah.
Particularly with movies like Angel of Music.
Yeah.
Just heed the warning. Don't be
Phantom
that curious.
yeah.
I mean, really, honestly, guys, I've shown you the best out of any of those films, so you don't have to waste your time.
There you go. Good.
It's like the Nostalgia Critic. We suffer it, so you don't have to. Okay, then. Well, that's enough of her, because she's had like 60 questions.
I know. Thanks, Veritas. Lovely.
I assume it's a her. I tend to assume everyone on the board is female, and often they're not, and then I get embarrassed.
Well, her post says she's female, so now we'll get some questions from a male.
Okay.
Here we go. Elwin. I don't know if we want to...
Sorry, it sounds like something out of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Elwin, son of Golden
Go to Lothlorien and get the... I don't know. Come up with some artifact. Anyway. And I don't know. His first question, he asks, what was your favorite review and your least favorite? Do you want to do that for this, since there's a whole thread dedicated to it on the board?
Least favorite review. I don't really like the book reviews that I did, because it's so hard to visually show stuff out of a book. I think I used a few illustrations for the LaRue one and the Susan Kay one. I quite like the Phantom of Manhattan one.
I think that was actually one of that had some really good jokes in it.
Yeah, but it's quite hard just to maintain visual interest when basically it's just a book, and that book didn't come with any any pictures or pop-up books or anything like that. It would have been better if it did, but so those were quite hard. So I think my LaRue one probably wasn't all that very well informed, and just I didn't really like that one. My favourite one, I like all the ones that you're in. I really like Phantom on Ice.
I like that one too. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah, because there was a lot of Skyping and just sort of improvising over the stupid fight scenes and stuff like that.
Mr. Midnight, who can forget?
Yeah, Mr. Midnight. I love that song. Actually, no, I don't. Oh gosh, I like the Il Mostro della Opera one for the same reason. Just any ones where me and you are just nattering away, talking nonsense. I think
it's fun to have a second person there. I feel very, very pleased that I got to be that second person.
Yeah, I'm very pleased too. Yay. You are wonderful.
Oh, stop.
And my absolute favourite episode by far, though, has to be Dario Argento Part 4.
Which has over 2 million views.
I know! What the hell is up with that?
What the heck? I was like, that's... Normally we get like 40,000, like tops maybe, but that's 2 million views.
I know, I don't understand why that is, unless just people keep going back to watch the Wig song, because there's quite a lot of stuff in there. There's
that's
the
our
Wig
musical
song.
Episode.
It is,
Because I Got High sequence,
that's right.
There's Pop Goes the Pedo, there's 3 musical numbers in there.
I mean, if I ever fancy listening to any of our own stuff, I often will put that back on, so maybe it's everybody's favourite episode and they just keep watching it. But I don't know, and maybe there's some link to it somewhere on some viral website that just people are checking it out. But I can't think why they would, unless they're interested in Phantom or Argento.
Mm-hmm.
The
Wig song's not that good.
I know. It's a shame I can't monetize that clip on YouTube, because you can monetize clips now, but they reject all of mine because I don't own any of the material, and I'd probably get my account closed down.
Of course.
But imagine the money that would stream in off that video if I could.
I could, buy lunch or something.
Exactly. So what about you? Have you got a least favourite and favourite episode?
Oh, a least favourite? Oh, that's so hard.
Because you've got to tell me, Phantom Review, that episode was garbage.
I can't really think of one that I didn't really like. I guess I would agree the LaRue book review was a little bit slow.
Yeah.
It's really hard for me to make it through the Love Never Dies stuff. Not that they're not good episodes, but I don't really know anything about that show.
Yeah, I'd probably say that as well, actually. That's probably... I think there's odd bits of goodness, but it goes on a bit long. But just because there's so much to talk about, did go excessively long. I'm not really keen on the very first few episodes, like the Maximilian Schell review. I'm not really keen on the Andrew Lloyd Webber review either, because I hadn't really settled down on my style yet. It took me till about season 2 when it was Phantom of Hollywood where I sort of settled down on the kind of style I wanted.
Yeah, and that's actually one of my favorite episodes, and it's not just because it's my first episode.
I was just thinking that it is your first episode.
That is my first episode, yeah.
You say something like, we're talking about how would you like to see hundreds of years of priceless MGM movie history get burned
I
or
don't
something.
think I'd like that at all.
I love that Judy Garland voice she used to do.
I miss that a lot. Maria's fun, but the other one was just so sweet and cute.
I know, it was brilliant. It's like something out of a bad Disney film.
Good times.
Yeah. Actually, it reminds me of the girl in Enchanted, you know, the Disney movie.
Yeah, I haven't actually seen the whole thing. I've just seen parts of it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like on
well,
TV here and there. Is it?
Yeah,
That's Christine.
Yeah, it is, yeah. And, I mean, if we do any future specials or a season 6 or something, you're going to have to come up with some sort of new iteration of Christine for some live-action stuff. So maybe you can use your Christine dress after all.
Oh, maybe.
But you'll have to come up with a new modern character, a feisty Christine for these modern times.
Yeah, a strong and independent woman. That's right. I'll finally get my feminist say. It'll be great.
Yeah. So, did you have a favourite episode?
A favourite episode? Oh, that's so hard. I really liked the Phantom on Ice one. Again, because it was like a mashup where we got to do some scripted things, and I got to actually watch the footage beforehand, unlike some of the dubs where jumping into the dubs. And the ones where I had to do the accent, especially. I can just talk like that. That's fine. I've been doing it long enough. But having to remember, okay, I have to do the accent, and then watching it, and I'm not very clever, so like trying to say something clever on the fly, it's pretty obvious that I'm not that good at it.
But that gave us some of the most memorable pieces, like Fireball!
Fireball! Indeed. That's one of my favorites. Alright, so, Elwin also asks...
Which is the best route to Gondor?
No.
That would be silly. Sorry, you sounded really stern then. It's like, Phantom Reviewer.
Phantom Reviewer, don't you make me come over there. Alright. Would you do a special comeback episode if there is a new movie of Phantom made?
Yes. I think I've already answered that. I had planned that it's not totally the end. There's bound to be something that's going to come up in the future. Like, I don't know. I was really hoping that Jeremy Irons French TV series gets made, although I think that's kind of been canned. Have you heard about that?
I think I read something about it on the board at one point.
Yeah, but I think that one kind of died a death, which is a bit of a shame. But I think it's inevitable at some point. There's bound to be another movie, or I think probably TV is more likely. I'm hoping the BBC does one, because they're normally really good with their adaptations. So they'll either do a really faithful one, or they'll get somebody like Stephen Moffat to do a modern day version, which would be pretty neat as well.
That could work out.
Yeah, because you're a Doctor Who fan, aren't you?
I am, but actually we're just going to depart here for a second. I loved the Davies run in the Moffat one. His individual episodes in the Davies run were phenomenal. He had like some of the best episodes there were. But when he was, given the reins to the whole series, I thought that he kind of handled the season arcs pretty clumsily. I wasn't too satisfied.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh dear. We can't have Maria not being satisfied. I don't know anything about Doctor Who, except that did you know there's a Phantom-related episode of Doctor Who, which I think is one of the Tom Baker ones?
I did not know that.
Something Planet. I know there's probably about 800 Doctor Who episodes called The Something Planet. I'm sure someone will tell us which episode that is, but something about Doctor Who goes to a planet and there's some mad composer who lives like deep beneath the planet with a mask, and it's basically Phantom of the Opera in space. Phantom of the Opera in space. So that's one I was considering tracking down and maybe reviewing, but I don't know. Maybe I could bring you in on that because you're like a Doctor Who nut.
I do enjoy Doctor Who. If there were Daleks in it, I would be the happiest thing ever.
Yeah.
I love
little Daleks with masks.
I think it would be adorable. Call me crazy.
What I wanted, Daroga, is to be loved. Take my wife on Sundays.
Exterminate!
That would be awesome.
That would be a lot of fun. That would be cheesy.
Yeah, it would. What was the question again? Would we do specials? Yeah,
you answered it, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
Have you seen A Monster in Paris? Because that's one that I have in my house and I haven't watched it yet.
I was actually going to ask if you were going to review it. I haven't seen it yet either. But it is on my list.
yeah. If I'm reviewing it, it won't be for some time because I really want to have a break from all this for now. But I am going to watch that movie soon. Maybe I could do a podcast on it. I don't know.
Yeah. It seems cute. Not Phantom exactly, but definitely based on a lot of key elements.
It almost had like
the main plot.
It had kind of a Phantom of the Paradise kind of vibe to me from the tiny clips I've seen.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a new Phantom of the Paradise in the works, although that's been true for some time.
That's been rumored for years, yeah. It was supposed to, last I checked, it was supposed to come out sometime this year, but I don't think there's any details about it, so I'm sure they're still just...
So surely at some point there will be a new movie, or either that or I'll track down an old one. I've been saying on the board there's some movies that I'm trying to track down. I'm trying to get hold of the Song at Midnight remakes. I think there's one in 1941 and 1962 that I really want to see. I found a 2005 one yesterday. There's like a mini-series, it's 30 episodes. A really sort of slow-ass version of the Song Damping story, done like a soap opera. So I've posted the first 3 episodes, but I've just skimmed through it and it doesn't look that interesting. Maybe because I can't speak Japanese or Chinese. I'm not sure which one it is actually.
It'd probably be Chinese or Korean, I would guess. I'd have to look at it though.
Yeah, but it looked kind of slow because it's taking that whole story and spanning it out across 30 episodes, and they're 45 minutes each. So I'm like, I don't think I'll watch that. There's also a 2001, I'm thinking, or is it 1990 miniseries called O Fantasma dell'Opera, which is sort of more soap opera in style, and I've seen a few clips of that floating around, and that's really hard to get hold of, but...
Yeah.
What I really...
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, what I really want is that 1960s Argentinian miniseries with... what's
sounds
his name?
like the Holy Grail.
Yeah, Narcisco something, and that looks awesome, and I'm trying to track it down. So I've become like sort of a Phantom relic hunter. I'm the Indiana Jones of Phantom movies. I'm trying to track these down. Because to a point, I've been successful. There's books. I've got Phantom books that talk about movies like the not the Tin Town one, but the El Fantasma dell'Opera that we reviewed at the start of season 4.
Right.
That was listed as a lost film, and I found it.
And you found it quite easily.
Yeah, and the Il Mostro dell'Opera. There's a lot of talk in these books about some sort of Spanish version from 1960 where he's a vampire and killing chorus girls, and I'm sure that is Il Mostro dell'Opera, and that was listed
Italian
as a
one,
Italian. Sorry, I get very confused with my nationalities. And that was listed as lost, and that took a bit more tracking down, but I did track it down. So I think these versions are out there somewhere. Yeah. The 1960s one may not be because it was TV and it's from a time where people didn't have VCRs or Blu-ray players. So
Blu-ray players.
Yeah, so...
DVRs, a TiVo.
TiVo.
Sorry.
We always tend to lapse into a bit of Jerry Lewis sometimes.
It's just that voice. I can't help it. She just sounds like that.
So that might be harder to track down, but obviously if I get hold of anything like that, then that would be wonderful, and I would do a big review on it.
But of course.
Yeah. Okay. Any more questions?
Yeah, there are some. I'm going to skip a couple that don't really seem all that relevant. Sorry, guys. Well, Fire Dragon 20 asks a question that you...
No, you've got to say it properly.
Fire Dragon 20 asks a question that you answered in your radio podcast that you did a couple years ago. Why do you like Phantom of the Opera, the story itself?
Well, do you want to answer that? In fact, I rephrase the question to you because I wanted to ask you this anyway. How did you get into Phantom in the first place, and what did you like about it?
I reread the book when I was in college, just for something to read that wasn't a textbook.
So reread it. That means you read it when you was younger, then, yeah?
As a child, yes.
So you must have had an interest in it, or did you just see a book and thought, that looks interesting?
My friend, who is a phenomenal artist, she's Polish, and she's just crazy good, just the creepiest, coolest things. She had read the book, and she just fell in love with it. And I was like, I read that book. It was a long time ago.
Can I just stop you for a second? Do you want to plug your friend's work? Because she got a DeviantArt page and a username they can search for.
It's Aboshi, ABOSHI, Aboshi.deviantart.com. It's pretty good.
Incidentally, if you want to check out Biscuit's work, is it biscuits.deviantart.com?
That's right, Biscuits with a K.
Yeah, you've got some pretty awesome Phantom-related artwork on yours as well.
Oh, it's pretty fun. I have a good time.
Yeah. And a lot of Super Mario related stuff, I seem to remember.
Not a lot of Mario. There's lots of throwbacks to some of my really, really bad, like, teenage fan art years.
Anyway,
so I'm preserving it for posterity, but don't look at it. It sucks.
I'm digressing. So you reread the novel.
Reread the novel, and I was just really, really impressed. I mean, as I said earlier, it's not a phenomenal piece of literature. It's not actually anything really important. But what LaRue does so well is Eric is not present. The Phantom is present in like a couple of chapters. He's like the shark in Jaws, right? He's just not there. But he's so scary because he's just not there, but he's doing stuff, right? So the fact that he took this pretty much unpresent presence and just made it so looming and so scary. And when you actually meet him, he is scary. Like, he was a scary guy. And he's reprehensible, but through it all, you do feel a lot of pity for him, and you're really happy that he gets his redemption. I was just really moved.
Yeah. In fact, that makes... I think I said it in my LaRue book thing. I think the only version that's really captured that is the Herbert Lom version.
I agree.
Because in that, it just drip feeds you information. He is a looming presence, and I think that was really well done. It's a really underrated film. I love that movie, but I think the atmosphere it sets up is brilliant. And also the BBC radio drama has that similar idea where you don't really get all the information. You get all the information presented to you in the same order that the book does, more or less. So it doesn't sort of blow its wad on Phantommy goodness straight away, and then the rest of it's disappointing.
Yeah, I think so too. But yeah.
Anyway, no, go.
No, I'm done.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, so from the book then, what was your first sort of foray into Phantom movies?
I had seen a few of them before. I mean, obviously I'd seen the 2004 film. Didn't like it.
2004.
But, yeah. What was the other one that I had watched?
Was it Claude Rains?
It wasn't Claude Rains. I saw that one a bit later. I'd seen the silent film quite some time ago because I love silent films. And I remember really liking that. I'm surprised I didn't read the book after watching that, actually, but I didn't.
What was it that made you think, I need to watch every Phantom movie there is?
Because I tend to do that. I tend to fixate on things that I enjoy, and especially if there's a lot of things to go through.
Yeah,
I can just ride out that idea to my heart's content, and Phantom has endured for quite a lot longer than I thought it would. There's way more movies than I thought.
Same here, exactly. Yeah, I thought there's only a few, so I'll watch those. And then it's like, holy crap, especially once I started doing the reviews, I forget who did it. There's some person out there who's responsible pretty much for the last 3 seasons of Phantom reviews, because they kept sending me stuff. Like, there's versions I'd heard of, like Phantom of the Mall, Phantom of the Ritz, but I just couldn't get hold of them, and somebody had a DVD rip for all of them, pretty much, and sent me a heap of them. So we wouldn't have had the reviews without you, and I wish I could remember your name. Sorry. Never mind. Yeah, okay then. So, and if you really want to go into depth about why I like the story and everything, you need to track down my radio review, which I think's on blogtalkradio.com. All things Phantom, you need to search for. I'm on there somewhere. You just
Google it; it should just pop right up.
Yeah, there's a thread on the board for it as well somewhere. But basically, it was down to that it's the Beauty and the Beast story. It's everyone can relate to unrequited love and sort of being in love with someone who's way out of your league and you're too ugly for. So I think that's why men like the story, and I guess women like the romance angle and the idea of a mysterious stalker, I guess.
That might be it. I don't know. That very well might be it. I like the monster. I like the beauty yearning for, or the beast yearning for the beauty, and then ultimately it being returned, just not in the way that, like, in a better way. Is the way it usually always is, the way it ends in the book. She does care about him, but not in the way that's in the way that's probably best for everything to resolve as well as it does.
Yeah. We haven't got a great deal of time, but there was one question I spotted related to the favourite endings, I think. Can you see that one?
Yeah. So you have one for you. They ask, what's do you prefer the original ending? I'm wondering if I'm sorry, and I can't pronounce your screen name. Nachttime is probably it. She wants to know whether you what your favorite ending is for Eric, and what my favorite ending is for Christine.
Oh, okay. I think most of Christine's endings are all the same. She buggers off with Raoul, doesn't she?
Pretty much.
because most of the endings for the movie versions are really lame and tacked on. I mean, the Chaney version is lame, Claude Rains is lame, Herbert Lom is stupid, Maximilian Schell is stupid. Probably the only one that I think's got a really solid ending might be the 1990s Charles Dance one, because I like the whole thing where he's joining in Faust. It's a little silly, but I still like it. I love the battle on the roof. I think we need to see more movies where the Phantom fights Raoul, and you get to see, because all through this miniseries he's cute and cuddly Charles Dance, and then he whips out a sword and he's like knocking him, and Philippe's like, go! When he gets hit in the mouth, and it's just got good music, good tension, and then you've got the really sad part when his dad shoots him, and the sad farewell thing. I think it's really heartbreaking, and I like how there's sort of a suggestion in it that even though she goes off with Philippe at the end, there's just something when he's watching the Eric and Christine together that he knows he's always going to be second banana in Christine's mind. So although he does get the girl, he kind of doesn't, because she still loves Eric more. That's what I think anyway. So I think that's a really good ending. One of the few films that does have a good solid ending.
I think it's one of the ones that wraps it up best and, really makes him into a really sympathetic, yet still kind of menacing character, even though he's pretty fluffy in that. He does have his moments. He's a lot scarier in the Takarazuka version, too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, yeah. I don't like that there's the lame bit where Christine's like, if you love me, let him go. She's always falling back on, if you love me, you'll get me this pot of tea, or if you love me, you'll get me this night's dress. And then it's a bit overused, so that's probably the only downer to that ending, maybe.
Sure.
What about you? I don't know what they mean by endings for Christine.
I thought about it a little bit. I think probably my favorite ending for Christine is in the Lam version, because that's one of the only ones where, you can really, really like the Raoul character. He's been with us the whole movie, and he's pretty great, and she loves him. And there isn't that whole romance plot with the Phantom, so there isn't any real ambiguity. She got to sing, which is what she wanted to do. He got, his thing performed and the credit to him, so it was good for everybody, even though he died. But yeah, because I can see her going on and being quite happy, whereas a lot of the other ones, everything that happens is just so messed up.
In a way, though,
for life.
In a way, the Claude Rains version has a similar ending, though, where Christine becomes a big success, and then she's like, screw you guys.
And that was going to be my second pick, actually, for that very reason, because she's off happy having her career, and her two suitors just get to have their bromance, and everybody wins.
That's quite an unusual end. That's not a typical Hollywood ending, is it? That was quite a good surprise about that movie.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions?
Let me see. I think pretty much the rest of them are repeats. Oh, there is one more. This one might be kind of fun. Rose of Phantom asks whether you believe that Eric might have actually existed.
Do you want to answer on that one first?
I would say no. I don't think so.
No. I think someone's asked me that before. Yeah, probably not. I think I'm probably going to get my facts totally wrong, but I was under the impression that LaRue was familiar with the story of the Elephant Man, and he was interested in the idea that he was of high intelligence, but horrendously ugly. So I think he sort of based it along that, and also he'd been to the Paris Opera House and thought that would be a neat place to hide, and sort of combine the two. I'd find it very unlikely that there was... Well, put it this way, it's possible that maybe some criminal on the run might hide out in a big building and sort of live there for years, but I think we'd have probably heard about it, particularly if he was sort of threatening the management and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and there was all that... there's all those catacombs and everything down there, those tunnels that were used in that siege. Yeah. So, I mean, what a perfect place to stage a horror story, especially when I'm sure they were finding bodies and stuff in there.
Yeah. So, because I was just trying to think as well that would there ever be a point where someone's so ugly that they feel that they can't function in society and they have to hide somewhere? Because even the Elephant Man, through poverty, he had to live in the real world. He had to walk from place to place. I think he was even a door-to-door salesman at some point, even with that face. Mm-hmm. So he was forced by poverty to go out into the world. He didn't have the option of hiding away. And the only reason, really, Eric can get away with hiding away in the novel is presumably because he's extorting a lot of money from the management and he can steal whatever food he wants.
Right.
But in the real world, that those two events would have to coincide. You'd have to be really ugly and clever enough to
hide
away. Yeah, and a genius, and get all the stuff that you need, or to have some helpers helping you. But I don't think it really happens. I think people who deform just have to kind of function in the real world as best they can.
Sure.
I've never heard of a story like that anyway, happening in the real world. People keep saying, like, what am I talking about? Oh yeah, but the chandelier fall was real. No, it wasn't. There was a counterbalance that fell, and I think, did someone get killed? One person got killed, maybe?
No, I don't know.
It's crap like the David Copperfield special that confuses people, saying that it was real and there was a real Christine and she really disappeared and that. No, there wasn't. I think there was an opera singer who something happened to her. She wasn't called Christine, but it was loosely based on some kind of event, but not in the way that LaRue's talking about.
Sure.
So I guess that's the long answer, and the short answer is no.
Yeah, my answer was no, I don't.
Yeah.
I think, that's all the questions that the fans seem to have for now.
I guess my final question might be, are you able to pick what your favourite Phantom movie is?
My absolute favourite.
And by favourite, I don't mean like, a lot of people say the Lon Chaney because it's the most faithful, but I would probably
the one that I enjoy the most.
Yeah, the one that you'd probably go back to and rewatch lots of times, because there's some good movies I've seen, but I don't feel the need to watch them again, really.
I think probably the ones that I have watched the most times, not counting Argento, which I just am compelled to show people. I just have to share it with everybody.
I probably wouldn't put that as my very worst, because there's a certain amount of perverted glee you can get from watching it.
It's fun. It is a fun time.
I'd much rather watch that than, say, The Phantom of the Ritz.
Yeah.
Where there's just nothing going on. Yeah. Or Angel of Music, even. But yeah, there's a certain amount of joy you can get from the Argento version. It's a lovely looking film, and it is a lot of fun. It's not supposed to be, but it's a lot of fun.
Yeah, there's nothing actually scary in it, but it's and there's not actually really anything particularly shocking either. So as like an Argento
bits that's a bit gross, like, you know, with
the hand with the bone, and
yeah, and pulling the girl's tongue out. I think that's a bit unnecessary, but I don't watch many horror films.
As a genre piece, it's pretty weak on the horrifying scale, especially for an Argento film. It's pretty tame.
Yeah.
I would have to say probably the two that I return to the most would definitely have to be Phantom of the Paradise, which for me is just a romp. I love that movie. I love everything about it. I love 70s movies. I like the way that, you know, narrative is framed in them. I like the experimental camera techniques. I love to hate every character in that, except for Beef, who I totally have his back. Yeah. Beef is so sensible. He's the one who wants to get out of there. He's like, "Are you crazy? I was threatened in my bathroom after sniffing all this coke."
What's he say? I know the difference between real and drug real or something.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it for such a long time. That is one I'd go back to, if only for Beef, really. Yeah. I think there's some great songs in it. I tend to listen to the songs a lot on my iPod. Yeah, but I haven't watched the movie for a long time. But yeah, I need to check that one out again. So the Phantom of the Paradise, you said that there was two.
Probably the Robert Englund one, just because of my love of 80s horror. And like as a film, that again, it's not great, but it's structured and it has, you know, everything that you need, whereas a lot of Phantom films kind of stumble at the plot, right? It's not a hard plot, but they have trouble getting it.
I just have to ask, talking of that, have you ever seen Danse Macabre with Robert Englund, which was the unofficial sequel to that movie?
I have not seen that, no.
Don't bother. I was sort of planning a review on it, but it's so boring, and I just couldn't. This is one of the few films where I thought, I'm not even reviewing this because I can't even begin to make sense of any of the things that happen. There's stuff you could make fun of, but it's just boring and weak, and it's just disappointing that there was such a good script for the Phantom sequel, and they shelved it in favour of this garbage. Mm-hmm. I mean, you've got Robert Englund as sort of a dual role. It's kind of like a Norman Bates thing where he's sort of dressed up as his own wife in a terrible drag outfit, but pretending to be a ballet instructor. And it sounds really cool on paper, but it's just not.
Oh, that's a shame.
So I would recommend people don't check that out. I don't think I'll ever review it because it's just so bad. It's so bad that it sucks the fun out of it, I think. I don't think I can make it funny because it depresses me, that movie. My favourites, probably the ones I'd go back to, are the Herbert Lom version. I watch that one quite often. The Charles Dance one as well, I really want to rewatch. That's one I do come back to quite often. That is quite a good film. Maybe I didn't give it as good a review as maybe it deserved. And the Robert Englund version as well.
I really thought the dance one, like the first half of it is a lot of fun, and it so drags with Carrie Ayer's whole big flashback.
Oh yeah.
It just drags for me at the end.
They should have ballet-fied it like in the
in Phantom on Ice.
Oh, and I just have to no, like in the Takarazuka version.
Oh, I love their cheesy fights. How nothing is connecting, but it just looks so fun.
Do you know what I absolutely love though? And I need to try and get an MP3 of it. You know, in the English version of the ballet sequence, and Eric's mom singing to Eric, and it's like la 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 la. But in the Takarazuka version, they amp it up with like this electric.
Because they have to do their flashy review dances. That's actually one of my favorite dance sequences in that whole thing. And it's because of the song.
Exactly, yeah, it's absolutely awesome. I want that on my iPod. I listen to that on loop. I just love how they totally take such a simple little theme and really pimp it out. They Takarazuka it.
Yes.
Yes.
What did you think of actually their added intro and their changed ending?
Yeah, where the Phantom sort of goes off into a little boat and goes to the underworld or something.
Or something, and Christine hops right in there with him. I have no idea what's going on.
I loved it, yeah.
I can't understand it well enough, but...
It was kind of a happy ending. I liked it.
Did the version you have, have all the dances at the end, too?
Yeah, it had about 15 minutes worth.
Yeah.
So I did skip some of it, but I enjoyed it. I'm going to have to wrap this up, I'm afraid.
Right. Yep.
I'm terribly sorry.
It's okay. I can meet again tomorrow morning.
Okay. So I just want to say to the fans, thank you very much for watching. Thank you for the 280 billion views you gave us to the Ardento one. And thank you to you, Biscuits, for being such a great Christine/Maria.
It was a pleasure. Thank you for your wonderful editing and for all of the hours of entertainment you have given all of us.
Thank you very much. Somebody totted it up of how many hours the whole thing came to.
I saw that.
It was some crazy number of hours.
It was Charmed, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, yeah. He's got a playlist of every episode, and he worked out how many hours of viewing it would give you if you wanted a Phantom Marathon.
He was the one who was really excited about the continuity, too, how we had, a story.
Ah, bless.
Indeed.
Okay then, guys, so thank you very much for watching. Keep an eye on phantomreviews.proboards.com, because I guess if we find any cool stuff or if there's any new reviews coming out, we'd probably tell you about it there first. So that's me signing off. Bye for now.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Fireball.
Fireboy. That was bad.
What? Okay.
I'm done.
See ya.